Evening all. Absolutely Baltic in the shed this evening. This storm's supposed to be coming through tomorrow. I think it's hitting more up north as opposed to down here. Hopefully it doesn't hit us too much down here, because we're on the river on Sunday. Whee! First time out on the river since Winter League November gone. Anyway, how did I get on Sunday just gone on Loughborough Canal? Actually not too bad. Double default section win, so happy with that. I'll take that any day of the week because it gives you beer tokens. Tough match, enjoyed it. Wind was absolutely freezing. Teammate Andy in the next door peg absolutely obliterated everybody with £6.3, so good. For me, yeah, I was like everybody else, it was tough. I tried to sit it out as long as I dared, trying to fish for bonus fish, because I know there was a little bream floating around up and down there, but Andy was the one that had them. So sort of trying to find one of them, trying to find a perch, rotating swims, I was catching these little crappy little perch, no good. In the end, it was sort of, right, I've got to do something. One of the teammates was wandering the bank just to say hello to everybody, and he says, oh, Andy and Rob up at the top there are having started to catch these little blades fairly close in. So it's like, right, punch it is then. So good old spice punch straight in, and then unfortunately it was kind of the last hour of the match. Yeah, catching these, not quite one a bung, but quite a few. Give me, well, 11 ounces, not a lot. But anyway, it was sort of, I was third in my section. It gave me a dual default, so happy days. So as I say, on the river this Sunday. So thought I'd just give you a bit of a look at what I'm looking at, thinking of if the weather conditions are right for Sunday. So back in a minute. As I say, on the river, locally on my doorstep, which would be nice. So it's only just down the road on Soar Lane. Didn't use it as much last year, but it's quite well-known water actually. It gets used for a lot of big matches. Obviously, rivers would have been a mess since the floods a couple of 3 weeks ago. Obviously, they're back in the banks now. They were carrying quite a lot of colour. Lockie come in the shop the other day and said, oh, the colour's starting to drop out a little bit out of the river. Maybe by Sunday it might be quite a bit clearer, but then we've got this storm that's supposed to be coming through, so it might be carrying colour again. So usual thing on the rivers, you end up having to take everything in the bloody kitchen sink, which is the only downside with river fishing these days. And to be competitive, I know there's not many of us going out this Sunday, because a lot of people I think are over a march on the Winter League sort of practice, practices for the Winter League final, and there's other stuff going elsewhere. But my thoughts are, ground bait wise, fairly simple really. I'm going to need some, if it is flowing a bit, I'm going to have to set ground baits up in the morning. I think I won't be doing this like I did last time and pre-making it, because I'm just going to have a look in the morning. I'm pegging it all out, running the match, so I'll have a look on Saturday afternoon, but again I'm going to have a look on Sunday morning to see what's what, especially as this weather's coming through. So basically thinking, again after speaking to someone the other day that fished down there on peg 57, catching roach and stuff, well yeah, just say roach, few bits and bobs. So I'm thinking, like I said the other day, good old, the old favourite Vanillin Super Black, because it's got aniseed in it, a bit of coriander, roach. It's fairly fine, but this is only really just for adding. I'm going to have to get some, I've got some Turbo Black at the shop. I should use black actually. So Vanillin Turbo, proper old school mix. That will be my base, because it binds up lovely. And then this will be adding a bit more sort of smell to it. Again, because if it is going to be coloured, it's going to be carrying some sort of colour. I need to be attracting some people in. Not be balling it, I should be cupping it. Try not to fish too far out. You don't need to fish too far out on Soar Lane really, certainly this time of year. It's just trying to find the edge of the ledge, which if you've ever fished Soar Lane, you'll know it's deep. It can be deep at your feet. You can be literally almost a top kit in 9-10 foot of water. The average sort of depths are about 9 foot. so it's difficult to fish it with float rod and line, so it's easier to fish it with pole. But I'll probably be fishing up to about, I don't know, if I can keep within range of sort of 10 meters on the pole, good, especially if it's going to be a bit drafty. So yeah, ground bait, so good old super black and some turbo to bind it up. So we'll have a look at some other bits, shall we? Some other bits will be, I think, if it, again, this is going to gauge, this is why unfortunately some people sort of drifted away from the rivers. You've got to take out, like I said earlier, you've got to take everything in the kitchen sink. So I'm thinking, again, depending on the river, I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. I'm going to chuck them in anyway. Pole feeder, I can be deadly on the rivers. I tend to use, in fact, I couldn't find, I was looking for my cage one. Anyway, I use Nissa pole feeders, these are great. Obviously, simple, look a block end, and then there's obviously a cage, which I don't know what I've done with it, but it's kind of like a basket cage, but with that sort of weight on the bottom. Brilliant for putting chopped worm and ground bait through. Just sit there, poof, on a bump bar. Especially if it does get windy, it's actually quite handy to fish it short. You can sit on the back of your pole if it's flowing as well, if there's a good bit of flow on it. The beauty with the Nissa stuff is wherever I put them, clip-on weights on all of them. So you sort of 5 gram, 10 gram, 15 gram clip-on weights on these, and obviously the cage ones are great. I prefer the stand-up ones. I think you get better bite detection, and listening to what Nick Larkin, who designs all this lot, says. I mean, obviously, yeah, no, well, that you wouldn't use that on a pole feed, that's massive, but as you can see with these other feeders, the clips fit on there as well. So yeah, a bit of pole feeder fishing. You'd be surprised what you can pick up on those. So I use Nick's bite indicator, bite master indicators, which you can find on our website. You can find the pole feeders, in fact, were a bit low actually. The greens generally, which is the lightest one, is generally will fit just about, it goes everywhere. There is a pink, or pinkish, which is the next one up, which is a medium. I don't actually use a heavy, I don't think you really need it. It has to be proper steaming through to even use that one, to be fair, because it's the way it's set up, it's brilliant. Final note on that, on these, obviously Nick shows you on these bits and bobs using it with an old-fashioned sort of stomp flow clip. You don't need to. I use Dacrons. Just pull the loop over the back of the Dacron, works fine. Takes a bit of getting used to, but once you've set them up, it's such a good way of fishing. Right? What else? Right, flat floats. I will take the flat floats with me. I mean, that's 4 gram. Whether we'll be using 4 gram or not, might have to, don't know. But these are all my flat floats, all set up, ready to go. What else? I would, yeah, 4 gram might be about right actually. It might, it'd be surprising. I've got my other sets of flat floats. There's loads of different ones. There's in lines, which are obviously those are in lines, and then there's offsets. Gets a bit complicated. I'm still learning it actually, but again, can be a productive way of fishing. Again, bang, sat there on your bump bar, boof, and fishing over depth by, I don't know, however much you think's right. Well, one last thing, well, just on about fishing over depth, certainly on the pole feeder, always worth putting a shot. I know Nick said this to me. He always put a shot on the hook link. It stops if there's a lot of crap coming through the river. The crap gets stuck around the back of the shot. If you put something like a BB on it, something like that, gets stuck around there as opposed to going around the hook, and it does actually work. Plus, if it's a bit turbulent, it keeps it pinned down. Surprising. That's kind of it in a nutshell. I won't be doing much more than that. I mean, it'd be nice just to fish normal rigs, but I've got a feeling we ain't going to be able to. So it's going to be kind of simple fishing, back to smelling the water again, certainly if it's coloured. Shouldn't have a pike problem if it's coloured. Again, the other thing sometimes we think of down there is it bleak, if it gets really tough, you can spray it with just catapult, spray it with pinkies, and you can get bleak up in the water. But that's desperado. I don't really want to be doing bleak fishing, and it's something I'm not very good at. Yes, doing practice. I've watched some of the lads sat behind Darren Bickerton once on there, and yeah, it's just unbelievable. How many fish you can catch, bleak little ones of these into double figures. Sat behind him before, and I can't remember what it was well into double figures. So that's it really. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's this Sunday, down the bottom of Soar Lane. Should be good fun, good laugh. Been nice back on the rivers. Not much time left. I think we've probably only got about 6 weeks left, something like that, haven't we now? So fingers crossed it don't get flooded, because that's what happened last time. We had this storm, and then literally it flooded everywhere in Leicestershire within 24 hours, all overnight. All right, well, have a good one, and I shall speak to you soon. Cheers, guys. Bye bye.